Add Betsy as a speaker if we haven't already. I'm not sure what's going on with the formatting here. But please welcome from Vox Pop Me. Again, they're our partners, and they worked with us on the hiring study, and we were very grateful to them to be able to work with their platform directly and are excited to share what it looks like and how to work with it for all of you. So first, we have Betsy Shaak. She's their head of product, and also Eric Santos, the VP of sales from Vox Pop Me. And they're going to cover kind of a walkthrough, so demos, tips, and tricks. And I'll maybe let them cover a little more as we introduce, but thank you to both of them. And as Brian's doing that, if you want to learn more than what you see today, I'm going to post a link to their Learn site. They have a lot of content and things that you can view there to learn more and kind of get more of a deeper dive on some of their resources.
Great. We appreciate it. Well, it's a pleasure being able to partner with you guys on the study in the later of this year. And it's even a pleasure again to be able to present to everyone here today. As we introduced, my name is Eric Santos. I'm the VP of sales here at Vox Pop Me. I joined in 2022 via an acquisition of a company I co-founded called HubUX along with Jamin Brazil. And I'm joined here with my colleague, Betsy.
Hey y'all, my name's Betsy. I am the head of product at Vox Pop Me. I build the thing that people use when they use Vox Pop Me. So if you used Vox Pop Me before, I'd love to hear about your experience. If you've never heard of us, that's fine too. I dropped my LinkedIn in the chat twice now. So I would love to connect with you on LinkedIn if you ever have qualitative needs or also just want to nerd out about AI stuff. I'm always up for that too.
Yeah, luckily for you guys, Betsy will be speaking a lot more than I am on this, given that he is the builder of the great technology and one of the smartest people I know. But just to cover a little bit of the agenda today, talk a little bit about the rise of AI, but really getting into the things that will hopefully be helpful and impactful for you guys. How AI can be used with reporting, red flags, some prompting 101, and also just answering some questions. Next slide. Quick 20-second background of Vox Pop Me. We are an AI platform. We started as a video survey company to capture Qual asynchronously, but since then we just morphed to a full qualitative solution, whether it's live interview rooms, AI moderation, AI reporting repository, anything Qual and video, think of us as your go-to solution. And yeah, so here's quick history on AI. Everyone's probably obviously very familiar with how much it's exploded in the last few years. ChatGPT launched at the end of 2022. It reached and amassed 100 million users in 2 months. Just the fastest adoption of any technology there is, and it's just continuing to be used and specifically in different industries as it's verticalized. And we're happy to speak exactly how we're doing that here at Vox Pop Me, but talking about it at a broad level. So again, not talking it specific to our product, just about how researchers could use tools like ours or similar ones to impact research. Next slide, and now let's hand it off to Betsy.
Yeah, all right, awesome. So our goal here is to not sell you Vox Pop Me. That would be not so fun and also kind of lame. Our goal here is to talk about AI in research, right? And so there's going to be some of these slides that are going to have examples where we use Vox Pop Me, or when we go into the prompting, I'm going to go into the Vox Pop Me system because it's honestly what I'm most familiar with. And you're going to see a little bit of it, but I just wanted to be very clear. We're not trying to like force you to use Vox Pop Me. A lot of these things, almost everything that we're going to say here is very relevant to any AI system you use, especially AI systems that have any sort of input, right? So like a chat situation. We're talking about a lot of conversational LLM stuff here. All right. That is out of the way. Red flags for AI tools. We're going to jump right into it because this is the fun stuff, right? So AI is a marketing buzzword. All right. It's a real thing and it's very helpful and wonderful and all that stuff, but it is also a marketing buzzword. And the fun and also not so fun part of that is how do you tell what's an actual AI feature or tool versus something that just has an AI slapped on top of it, right? So the AI red flags and considerations, what you identify as what is actually helpful. And like this slide is honestly taken from a webinar that we're giving in a couple of weeks. And the whole idea is like, it's like around dating, like dating platforms and dating AIs, hence the Tinder profile of an AI. So what you can see is, you know what feels good, but if something is not mapped to an actual need that you have, don't buy something just because it says AI on it and you have a mandate to just get some AI pieces in it. If it's not return on investmentable, a lot of companies are putting AI on these features and then jacking the prices up, even though it's a very surface level AI, right? I really hope that when you're vetting these tools that you're able to test them. And I definitely hope that they're showing evidence, right? I think everybody here has probably heard of something around like hallucinations. This is when the AI just, it's trying its best. So it's kind of making something up, but it's really just trying to get you to your answer. You need evidence in order to prevent those hallucinations. So definitely that's one to look for. Not giving the keys to the Ferrari. That is my way of saying being able to interact with data versus just getting like a summary report, right? One of the things that when we approached building the AI at Vox Pop Me was, anybody can do reporting, right? That's not fun and fancy anymore. Anybody can build you a summary of a call that you were just in. You can do that with any LLM, but giving you the ability to actually interact with that data and ask a real question of real things is when the unlock really happens. Another consideration is training or not training. This is really important when you're talking about sensitive data, but also any data that with anybody who's GDPR-able, right? So is the LLM training on the data that you're putting in? Do not put a customer interview into ChatGPT if you don't have a pro account that's siloed, right? These are like basic rules of the land that I hope that you follow. Maths and multimodality, right? So maths being, if a product tells you that you can put in a bunch of data and it is going to calculate some sort of mathematical equation, at this point, I do not believe it, right? At the very, very least, double check it. But I am very, very skeptical of any product that is doing any sort of math calculation right now. It's just not there yet. It's going to get there really soon. Like there's new models that are coming out that are going to be better at this stuff, but do not just copy and paste, please. And then the second one is multimodality. What is a product that you're looking at actually using as a source material? For example, we work with video. We get the multimodality question all the time. Well, are you looking at transcripts or are you looking at transcripts, facial expressions, tones, backgrounds? Are you using vision to like identify what's happening in the frame? These are all things that you need to consider when you're utilizing an AI tool because one, there's privacy concerns, right? But also it can sway your data. For example, if you are using tone in video processing, man, the Americans are hard to work with because we love our sarcasm and our tone says we're happy, but the transcript says that we're really angry when you have sarcasm. So these things, like you need to know what you're looking at. And then lastly, and most importantly, garbage in, garbage out. If your source material is garbage, your insights are going to be garbage, right? Like we need to be realistic. Don't try to like make fantastic insights out of like text open ends where like half the text open ends is like, no, you're not going to get something fantastic out of that, right? Any questions or concerns, you can put them in the chat. Oh, I have seen the Maven or Maven analytics course. I haven't taken it yet. So David, maybe I'll hit you up on LinkedIn. You can let me know how you liked it. All right. So questions we want you to ask when you're dating AI tools, right? A lot of times you'll have like 3 or 4 tools and you have an Excel spreadsheet and you're trying to figure out which one you want to buy or which one you want to use for whatever. Does it show its work? Right? How are we charged? Some tools charge you based off of usage and some tools charge a flat fee. The truth is, we don't know what's best. We don't know, nobody knows how to appropriately charge people who are utilizing AI tools because we incur the cost as a provider, right? But you're also utilizing it. So you could have one user that uses it like mad and spends a bunch of money. So you want to know how you're being charged. What's the training situation? Are they training on your data or not? What's the base LLM? This is important because sometimes When you look at the news, you'll see, oh, there was this big case against this LLM, or this LLM just got acquired, or whatever. It's good to know. It's good to know which one you're utilizing. Also, if your company is something like we only use Microsoft products, it's also helpful to know that for when you go through security audits. Can we pilot? This is a huge one. If they don't let you pilot it, I wouldn't trust the provider that you're working with. Using AI is a lot about trust. And if you can't build that trust before you give them money, how is that supposed to work? And then lastly, does it speak my language, both literally and figuratively? So as an example, if you're a German researcher, does it speak German? Can you interact with the LLM in German? But also figuratively, is it made for research? There's a lot of tools out there that are not made for research. Some of them can be helpful. Some of them, candidly, were built by people who are just trying to make quick money, and they shouldn't be used for research because they're not fit for purpose. And you got to know who built it and what they built it for. Any questions, concerns before I move on? Eric, do you have any comments?
Nothing to add from mine.
Okay, I'm just nerding out real hard here. All right, lenses and reporting.
I'm sorry, Betsy, can I just interrupt you? Melanie had a good question
Oh, yeah.
to ask about how they handle privacy and PII.
Yep. Yeah, that's a huge piece here. Privacy is always based off of the company that you're working for. Just as an example, I've had last year, I maybe did 50 AI assessments. Almost all of them have some sort of different definition of what PII is. And the GDPR legislation hasn't been super helpful with defining it either. So it's really, really based on that. Also, when you're utilizing tools, or if you're a part of the person who's like trying to figure out which tool to use, ask for these things during the first conversation and send them to your privacy or legal team literally right away. It's going to help with your that whole process so much. Just there might be something that they're like, absolutely not. Then you've just saved yourself a couple hours of vetting a program.
Yeah.
Okay. Lenses and reporting. So there's two ways that we usually interact with large language models. The first, and this is mostly in research, right? The first is I've put in this data, tell me what you know. And then the second one is I have this specific question, answer this question. Right. So right now I'm talking about I've put in all this data, tell me what you know. The way that Vox PopMe has structured it, and candidly, a lot of other providers, is based off of a single response, multiple responses, or multiple projects. Right. And the fun thing about these AI tools is that they're scaling like mad. It's getting easier and easier to ingest more data and get good insights out of it, but you have to know what you're looking at. So in this example, a single response, it's going to tell you a lot of for example, when we developed our single response AI, we looked at it and it kept giving us insights about like the weather, because the weather is an important thing when you talk to somebody about the weather for 5 minutes at the beginning of a call, but it's not relevant. Right. And sometimes this is why you use a fit for purpose tool over just like a generic LLM, because a generic LLM will be like, oh, key insight, Arizona, it's warm there. Good, glad you know that. But like in reality, that's not an insight for us. And then on the entire project, that might be, 50 IDIs, that might be 100 1-minute videos of people talking about their experience shopping at Walmart. There's a bunch of different ways that you can look across an entire project. And then what's getting exciting and where this is kind of pushing into the next generation of this is multiple projects. So if you work for a brand, if maybe you work for McDonald's and every single year you've done a research project about the McRib, and now it's almost McRib season and you need to know how sentiments towards the McRib have changed in the last 5 years, this is where we're getting to, is that ability to scale that out. But that's not what we're excited about, right? That's not what we're talking about today. Today, we're talking about prompting, right? So very intro level tips for good prompt writing. Honestly, market researchers are really good prompt writers because y'all are already very, very good at asking the right questions. Your job is to ask the right questions, right? If anybody has been in an IDI and you have that one person who's like really, really tight-lipped and not really interested in giving you like good quality answers, you know what it's like to probe, to have a conversation. And literally that's what you're doing. Like an LLM is just like a kind of a first day intern on your team that doesn't really know what's going on. They're just like, they just figured out where the coffee maker is. You have to give them a lot of context. So using clear and concise language. You can also ask AI to act like a prompt engineer and help you go through that. Like I usually find myself bringing myself back with clients and being like, okay, what's your end goal? Okay, well, tell it that. Hey, my end goals, I'm creating a presentation for my stakeholders. They love to use these words and they hate to use these words. Please help me create this or reframe this in a way that fits their worldview. Give it the role, task, requirements, and instructions. Act like a market researcher from McDonald's that is, creating a presentation for this group. It has to be this length. Please go off and look at all of these calls and give me this thing. Like, it is a lot more context than what people expect. People expect that they can just give one sentence and then just get a sentence back and it's fine. But add context. I'm going to say context like maybe 50 million times. Sorry. That being said, it doesn't have to be so complicated, right? There are a lot of resources on the internet that are going to put you through a 6 to 8 week course. It's a $5,000 and this is how you can be a best prompt engineer and all of this stuff. But realistically, these LLMs are trained on human communication. So they're very good at processing and interacting with human communication. Your best bet before you go and spend $5,000 on a AI course is to, go to Chat GPT or go to any sort of provider and like try to get it to make a recipe for you based off of the ingredients that you have in your refrigerator, because you're going to learn more about that and your cooking is also going to be better. Just saying that from my personal experience. So it doesn't have to be so crazy. Here are some examples of real, things that we've had asked to our LLM. Okay, the fun part. I'm gonna do, Eric, what's my time check? How much time do I have to nerd out about this?
We leave some time with Q&A, so 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes.
Cool. All right, how do we feel about going into an actual project and doing some real prompting here? Nothing too fancy. All right, so disclaimer, this is Vox Pop Me. I'm utilizing our LLM because I think it's the easiest one to do for me. But also, if you are looking at this project, I just picked out one that was like a concept testing, like an Instagram logo. So we're gonna prompt this and just see what it comes out with. But just know that this is content that was asked by our team, right? So we are looking at what are the initial thoughts of an old Instagram logo, what's the initial thoughts of the new one, and which one do you prefer and why? Cool. Those were the questions that were asked. It was asked of 20 people. All right. This is the fun part. This is where you can add things in the chat that you want us to ask, okay? I'm just gonna start vamping and go for what AI thinks I should ask of this test. So AI thinks that the best question to ask is what specific design elements of the old and new Instagram logos do user find appealing or unappealing? And I'll just let everybody check this out. So this is what I meant by the evidence piece.
And I like it better than the current one, personally.
This is what I meant by the evidence piece, which is it's giving me the, evaluate user preference, understand design appeal. It's giving me these things, but I'm actually seeing real people saying real things. And, these are actual quotes, but also in our case, videos, right? If you're doing text open ends or transcripts or something, it might just be text, but I'm gonna check. Prompts sound a lot like the questions I get from stakeholders at the start of the project. I have one one client of ours, she actually takes the project brief and like puts that in as context and then asks our system like, what do I need to tell my stakeholders? And it's super funny to see how well it does at answering all of those project brief questions in like a quick turnaround. And then she'll do things like, okay, this is for the marketing team, like, you know, make it sound like a marketing thing. All right, so yes, I'm going to show you an example of something quantitative that actually works and the difference between quantitative and qualitative returns. So I have a new chat and, you know, we're talking about a logo. So I'm guessing there's going to be some responses that have something about color. So I'm going to ask it, how many times was color mentioned? This is the difference between asking a mathematical question that has calculation versus asking a mathematical question that has evidence. So an example of a calculation one would be, what percentage of men mentioned color? That's something that needs to be calculated versus a number of mentions, right? These don't need to be calculated. There's no actual math going. They're just like searching the transcripts. It's like kind of like a find count if you've ever, you know, searched a Word document. So color was mentioned by 32 visit. I mean, yes, I think one of the people was UK based, so color was mentioned twice. And then it's going to give me filters and also some fancy graph. You know, stakeholders love a good graph. Every once in a while, you got to throw it in. Questions that I got. What LLM does VoxPopMe use? That's a great question. So we are a Microsoft partner. We actually developed our this AI Insights part of the platform with Microsoft. So we use Microsoft Azure and they own ChatGPT. We also did a bunch of testing of other ones. We found out that a lot of the other ones, so we utilize things like Gemini, they're good, but our testing found out that the Azure services were the best ones as far as taking the unstructured research data, right? So some of like Gemini, for example, performed really, really well when you wanted to give it one transcript, but then when we wanted to scale that out and give more transcripts, then it started to struggle a little bit. Cool. Any prompts that people want to try? I mean, we can do a new one. This one's really cool. My expected findings were ... What unexpected findings can you help generate from this project? This is the prompt that has saved our customers the most money, because you know what you know and you don't know what you don't know. So a lot of the times when questions are asked too generically, you'll get a lot of the same answer back, and these are answers you already know. But it's always good to hear what unexpected things were happening. How do you validate against biased and content updates? I am not sure what you mean by content updates, but bias validation is done on the actual LLM. How do you say that, level? So like Microsoft as an LLM provider, they do a ton of bias validation and they have their own checks and we have our own checks. Part of our own checks is also that we provide you evidence so that you as a researcher aren't just getting a big blob of information without that evidence that you can validate for bias as well. Our goal here is transparency as much as possible, because the last thing we want to do is provide an answer that would skew a business decision in the wrong way. LLM content updates. Yeah, so we test every single model that comes out. So an example, like OpenAI, they're starting to release their strawberry model. If anybody's heard about this, it's named because AIs can't count the number of R's in strawberry, and they're fixing that problem. So we validate them as they come out. Does not mean that we update immediately. we have like checks and balances before we would like update ours. We're actually not using Strawberry right now because we don't see a significant return in the processing of qualitative data. Okay. What tools have you used to create top lines or summarize notes? So let me just show you what that looks like. You can honestly, you can use a lot of different tools. You can use ChatGPT, you can use Gemini, all of that stuff. Let me show you how it works in VoxPopMe. And part of the reason why I like internally we use this for our internal research is that when you do this, it doesn't go away, right? So when you ask something of an AI, it's just like that thread is gone forever. This way you have like your repository of all your information. So this is how VoxPopMe does it. This import, oh, I don't know if it was this one. I did an hour-long import and it took me 3 minutes to import it, of just like loading it and getting the data. Gives me an overview, gives me discussion points, key findings, themes, recommendations. Sometimes it'll be really cool and it'll give you like unexpected findings or things you need to change. And then I have like my transcript. I have a chat, my themes, tags, things like that. Somebody asked about sentiment. We have 2 ways that we calculate sentiment. So you'll see like this sentiment bar here. You can ask the chat, or this sentiment is by Eric. Keep me honest. It's IBM Watson, right?
Correct.
Yep. He knows. Okay, I'm going to pause here for questions. And I'm going to check the chat. Eric, did you see any that I didn't get to?
Just one popped up right now, but no, I saw you got to all the other ones.
Do researchers upload their IDIs videos on VoxPopMe? Are there interviews conducted with you? VoxPopMe analysts small focus groups. Okay, first question, do researchers upload their IDI videos onto VoxPopMe? You can, or you can host them with us. So we have a hosting platform. We have an email that you can just add to a Zoom call it's like one of those bots that comes in, records it, and deposits into your account. Or you can just do like an old-fashioned upload if you have a bunch of IDIs sitting around and want to do something like that. Can VoxPopMe analyze small focus groups? Yes. In-person groups can be analyzed. The diarization of in-person groups, I don't know if anybody's ever used some of these transcript tools. Nobody has figured out how to perfectly diarize an in-person focus group, but they'll get you pretty close. So sometimes the transcript, if there's people talking over each other, they'll struggle. But if you host one online, you can almost get perfect diarization these days. These tools have improved miles and miles since they were at like 2 years ago even. How well does VoxPopMe work with data in Spanish language? Very good. Almost all AI tools and all LLMs in general handle multilingual projects really well. So we have clients that one of our clients is French, and they upload their stuff in French and they interact with our chat in French, but then they have one English speaking colleague that can go in and interact and ask the question in English. This age of these large language models is completely changing how we work with this multilingual research. Can you show us an example of unexpected results? Yeah. So let me go back to that project quick. Eric, what's my time check?
5 more minutes. I mean, of Q&A, I think. Is that right?
Yeah. Cool. All right. Because I think we did have like 1 or 2 slides, but okay. So I'm going to use this one. You can, if you have expected findings, you can definitely ask the chat that, but I also just wanted to take a second to highlight, there are report styles that we utilize, and I think that you can even prompt your way through to get unexpected findings as well. So an unexpected finding, a significant number of users have strong nostalgic attachments. Same. Yeah, these are types of this like is hard. You have to develop trust, right? And you have to try these things out to really develop a sense of trust with these tools and see how much you want to work with them. But those are some implications of the unexpected findings that we have. To use moderated people for the qual studies, or is this wholly managed by the LLM prompting? That's a great question. We do have a AI moderation beta that we're looking for people to sign up for. So if you're interested in, if you have a project coming up that you're looking at getting an AI moderator on, yes. But honestly, we're kind of treating AI moderation as a new type of research. It's not replacing a moderator's job. It might do pretty okay at that, but I don't see a world where like moderation is going to go away. All right, I'm going to hop back into the slides and then we're going to wrap it up. So what is the future? We just showed you a lot about what's happening, but like, where do we see this whole thing going? I'd love to hear what people in this room think and where they see this going. But from a technologist standpoint, I see that we're going to be able to scale very quickly. So it used to be, you look at one project or look at one response, one IDI you had. I'm really excited about what happens when you can ask every single piece of data that you have, why should we invest more money in sugar-free drinks or whatever question you have? And this scaling mechanism is just going to go wild. The other thing on the other side of the spectrum that I'm interested to see is AI fraud, especially when it comes to things that are not video based, right? So like it's kind of like a known secret that a lot of the panels that are quant based, there's a lot of AI fraud, or there's a lot of fraud going on, but AI is just going to pop that up even further. And then lastly, I'll say, I think we're going to get into more customization. We're going to get stakeholders who can just go in and interact with their client data right away. That could be great for us, and that could be not so great for us. Like we all have that stakeholder that we're like, oh, please do not look at the source data because you're going to attach to one little thing and run with it. So I think we're going to get more requests for that type of thing. More ways to learn. Here are just some of, this is actually not even my list of favorites. This is Kelly from Insight Farm. This is her list of favorites. She went through her learning journey. I'll let people screenshot that as they see fit. And then lastly, we'll wrap it up. Eric, do you have any parting words?
Yeah, I'm going to pop a link in the thing for a free tool that we have that I think will be valuable to you guys. It's our discussion guide generator. It's completely free. It's on a web base. When you write in the objective of the study, it's going to ask you for your name and email address. As the VP of sales, I can say we're not actually doing anything with those, so you're good to go. But it's a way to create discussion guides really easily with AI. You can do it with ChatGPT, but it involves a lot of context. You'll still do stuff like closed-ended questions. You could do like a one-sentence line, like I want to understand why, parents purchase organic milk over non-organic, and it could build something based off that in like a time frame. So I put that link in there. And again, that's a completely free tool, and hopefully that is helpful for you guys to use. And you just found the rest of this content informative.